Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and welcome to This Week in WoW for the week of May 23rd. Still no Mythic Plus schedule, however, this week we are back to Tyrannical. As far as last week goes, Fortified Week, I feel like I went pretty well. They had to do some tuning to certain things, but overall I think Fortified Week went very well, as most people that were like super serious about keys were easily pushing up into the 20s and getting their Keystone Heroes and stuff like that. Me personally, bit hard to get invited to Pug 20s for sure. I think that's everybody's case when you're trying to do pugging. But yeah, definitely a fun week once again with Mythic Plus. I don't know how long I'll go where I have like a full vault of Mythic Plus. But so far we're 2 weeks for 2 weeks. So definitely having fun with Mythic Plus still, having a very good time. I think changing the dungeon pool is a very big thing. I've said this before, where I think changing the dungeon pool creates like a newness, and I think people are like super happy for it for at least a month is what I've said. We've been 2 weeks in. I think everyone's really happy. At least that's like the things I see online are people being like, oh, I love this dungeon pool. I love this dungeon pool. What you really love, in my opinion, like the dungeon pool is good, but I think what people really love is just that it switched up again. It feels like a new game for at least, like I said, probably like a month. Maybe it'll last longer than that, but it's kind of like how the raid, when the raid comes out, everyone has fun doing it for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on your skill level of your guild. And then it gets a little bit boring after that. And I think that's pretty normal. I think that's pretty okay. But I think switching up the dungeon pools is very, very good and very, very healthy for the game. I think people are enjoying that a lot. As far as what's going on in-game this week, we do have Cataclysm Timewalking, if you're a Timewalking fan. We also have the Glow Cap Festival coming up this weekend, if you're a Reputation fan. Mainly meaning if you need Spore rep from Burning Crusade. If you need or want that reputation to get exalted, you can just head there. Head to Zangarmar Marsh in Zangarmarsh, I think it's called. I think I called it Zangarmar. Zangarmarsh in the Outland, and you can head there and do the festival and get tons of Sporegar rep. Other than that, there's an event as well, a Diablo 4 crossover. I don't exactly know what it is, but that starts this week. It lasts for almost a month. A Greedy Emissary, it's called, and it's Spore. Again, it's not Sporegar. It's a Diablo 4 crossover event. I'm not sure exactly what happens in it. It lasts long enough. I imagine it's something. Hopefully, it's kind of cool or somewhat interesting. I guess we'll see. It doesn't really say much about it. And so we're going to, you're supposed to find them and see what treasure they may hold. So maybe they'll have something cool. Maybe it'll be like a mount or something. Who knows? But we'll see what goes on with that. Other than that, I've been having fun progressing the raid this past week. We grabbed the OTC real quick and then got into Mythic and killed 3 bosses and got very, very, very close on, I wouldn't say very close, but pretty darn close on Forgotten Experiments. I do expect that to die much easier this week with another little bit of gear for the raid team, and then move on through the raid. And yeah, the raid's going fairly well, fairly smooth. I'm definitely enjoying the raid myself. I enjoy the tuning of not needing nerfs as well. I think it's a lot more enjoyable for a more casual guild not to have to kill extremely nerfed bosses, just because there's not enough time in the day to do the pull counts needed to kill the bosses. That was the case in like Sepulture, for example. So I definitely enjoy this version more than the Sepulture version, despite some of the Sepulture version fights being very good. Like Halandris is an amazing fight. However, having a 300 pull boss in the middle of a raid isn't really a sustainable thing. So that kind of fight is really fun, but I do think you have to tone it down a little bit to not be a 300 pull boss. I think it becomes too unenjoyable and too unapproachable for like maybe a heroic raider who wants to be a mythic raider. I think it becomes unapproachable when you have 300 pull boss, not on the end boss, but just like on a mid-tier boss. But I'm definitely enjoying that. We already kind of talked about Mythic Plus a little bit, but I'm enjoying Mythic Plus a lot. I did a vault opening. I'll probably do one this week as well. I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how long I'll be filling up my vault on Mythic Plus, but for however long I do is probably when I'll do vault opening videos. And eventually it's going to turn into like doing like 1 plus 20 a week. I'm sure that's eventually going to happen. But right now I'm really enjoying playing Mythic Plus, and I'm enjoying the new dungeon pool. It feels all new to me as well, like it probably does to most of you. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it in general. I'm also enjoying doing the Lone Niffin rep. I enjoy doing my sniffing sneaking every week. I'm enjoying like all the little stuff with this patch as well. on top of all that, we have tons of new stuff coming out in patch 10.1.5 as well, with a mega dungeon, possibly some trinkets that'll add actual power to our characters. That's all speculation as of me making this video, but possibly some very powerful trinkets coming out with this mega dungeon. And the mega dungeon itself looks amazing. The patch is pretty huge in general. It's like right now is a great time, and I see people say this a lot, but it's true. Right now is a great time to be a fan of World of Warcraft. There were some really bad years. That's just the truth. Especially Shadowlands, the Korthia patch, 10.1 I guess it would, or 9.1 I guess it would have been. I mean, that was a really dark time. For me personally, Mists of Pandaria was a bad time. Now, I know most people love Mists of Pandaria, but for me, that was a bad time in WoW. And, you know, people have different perspectives and stuff like that. But right now, I think it's a pretty good time to be a fan of World of Warcraft because there's a lot of content to do. A lot of the content is very fun. Not all of it. The Fryrack Assaults or whatever, those aren't that good. But a lot of the content is also really, really good. There's a lot of content. And then you also have like this classic hardcore community or whatever, and this whole thing coming out. And while I am an OG classic player, I definitely prefer retail over that by a ton. But I do think there is some fun with the whole hardcore aspect of it, because I think it takes the fun part of classic, which is the leveling, and then like amps it up a little bit. Because like raiding in classic to me is not fun. It's just too easy. Everything's kind of a joke. But doing leveling up is the fun part of classic, in my opinion, and having like extra stakes to that makes it more fun. So I think you have a whole segment of the community loving that. You have people, if you like retail WoW, it's hard not to like this patch. For example, it's a very good patch, and it's just a great time to be a fan of World of Warcraft. So I know PvP is something that's kind of like dying in World of Warcraft. I feel bad for PvP players because I can't really include them in this, because PvP has been on the back burner for this expansion. I feel like, while solo queue is really good, that was like the best thing for this expansion, but other than that, it has been on the back burner. I feel bad for those players, but the overall health of the game is extremely good, and like that's the one section of the game that's kind of really struggling. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they were wasting too many resources into PvP. I have no idea. But things are really good right now. It's like I said, it's a really good time to be a fan of World of Warcraft right now at this moment. So I could probably go on forever just talking about how excited I am about the new patch, for example, 10.1.5, but I will end this right here. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and everybody have a good one.